Welcome to the Hardline Curling Show. It's another busy week on and off the ice, and we've got all the angles covered on this episode. We'll catch up with one of the world's best leads, hear from the man overseeing the next generation of Canadian talent, and we'll head to Alberta for a look at the Pan-Continental Championships and the second Grand Slam event of the season. It's a jam-packed show, so let's get right to it. The field for the 2025 World Curling Championships are starting to take shape after an exciting week of action at the Pan-Continental Championships in Lacombe, Alberta, where we saw a new men's champion crowned and some familiar faces claim the women's title for the first time. Teams from the Americas and Asia-Pacific regions were vying for 5 available berths at the Worlds, while Canada is already guaranteed a spot as the Men's World Championship is in Moose Jaw. Brad Gushue had something else in his sights. As the winner of the first 2 Pan-Continental titles, the skip was looking to three-peat with his new-look squad featuring Brendan Bottcher at second. The Canadians rolled right through the round robin without a loss, but it was a different story in the playoffs as Team Gushue was upset in the semifinals by Japan 8-4. Then they lost the bronze medal game to the United States 10-8. The event's first all-Asian men's final, pitting Japan against China, where it was the Chinese team prevailing with a 6-4 win to claim the title. All 4 playoff teams, plus the 5th-place team in the round robin, South Korea, have now secured their country's spot at the World Championships next spring. Meanwhile, on the women's side, Canada had a new representation this year after Carrie Anderson's team wore the maple leaf at the first 2 Pan-Continental Championships. It was Rachel Homan leading the Canadian contingent in Lacombe, and the defending women's world champion had a great week, going undefeated in round-robin play before pulling out an extra-end win over China in the semifinals. That set up a gold medal showdown with the defending champions from South Korea, Team Gim, and it was Team Homan stealing a point in the 10th to come away with the 6-5 win, becoming the first Canadian rink to claim the Women's Pan-Continental Championship. So Canada, Japan, China, and the United States all booked their tickets to the Women's World Championship. Korea, as the host, will be there as well. When we come back, we'll talk to the greatest lead in the game, Ben Hebert. Stay tuned.
Curling means so much to our family. Obviously, it's a big part of our life. Isabella always says that she wants to be an Olympic champion curler when she grows up, which just melts my heart. But it also has shown them that if you work hard, anything is possible. If I was to ask them if they wanted to chase a dream, they believe that anything is possible as long as they put the work in, and it's because of watching us on the ice.
Everest is here to support you in the moments that matter. Learn how at everestfuneral.ca.
What do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Our next guest is one of the most highly decorated players in men's curling history. Ben Hebert is an Olympic gold medalist, 2-time world champion, and 4-time Brier champion. And in 2019, he was named the greatest Canadian male lead of all time by TSN. He spent the last 2 years playing with Team Bottcher, but the squad has a new skip this year, and this week they're competing at the Grand Slam of Curling Co-op Canadian Open. Ben, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. How's it going?
It's going good. I appreciate the time. Let's start with the lineup change going back to the offseason. Obviously, Brad Jacobs coming in to skip you and Brett Gallant and Mark Kennedy this season. Take me back to the early conversations and how that sort of came about with him joining the squad.
Yeah, I mean, probably a little bit unexpected for, not only us, but the curling world. But, we put in a lot of time with Brendan the past couple of years. And, it went pretty good. We had some success, but obviously we had some things that we needed to address that we didn't think we're going to be able to conquer the next couple of years. So, we just kind of thought it was going to be a good spark change that we kind of needed to maybe get us to that next step. Brendan was a good teammate, did a lot of good things, but having Brad here now, puts us in a position that we think, we have a chance to win those big events and Olympic trials and Briars, which we weren't able to do our first 2 years, and we thought we put enough work in and time in and preparation to be able to win those. And so when it didn't happen, we kind of looked at it as a bit of a failure. And so we're here trying to rebuild it and see if we can get to the top of the podium. Been around for a long time, and second and third place these days doesn't feel so good. So it's tough when you have high expectations and you don't succeed. Change is inevitable, and we made a change, and it's been going pretty good so far. So I guess we'll see where it takes us.
Obviously, we've seen what you guys can do, and we've seen what Brad can do. But what's the adjustment like when you bring him in and you guys have to work with a new skip? What are maybe the challenges or changes that you have to go through?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Technically, obviously, as a curling team, you kind of want to get on the same page and where Brad came from and where we were coming from, and then just getting used to a new player. And I think it's different if you throw a guy at lead or at second, but certainly a new skip is a big change, and figuring out how he calls the game and what he's comfortable with and what he's looking for out of us, and just trying to get the best out of each other. It's been a little bit of a learning curve, but it's been exciting. Brad brings a lot of energy, and he's got a lot of good leadership qualities, getting the boys ready for games. We like the stuff that he's been putting together for us that we've been able to learn from him so far. And we've had a good little start. A couple more wins, and we could have had an amazing start. But we won our last tour event, which was great, and we've kind of been getting better each event, which is kind of the goal. And we're not trying to be the best team in September. Certainly, we were the best team in September, October last year, and that didn't get us very far come March, April. So I like the trajectory that we're on, going the right way and trying to build towards March, and that's the big goal for us. So we'll see if we can get there. Nothing's guaranteed in this sport. There's a lot of good teams and a lot of top teams putting in a lot of work, but we think we have as good a chance as anybody.
You guys obviously mentioned the success you've had this season. Is it about just continuing that as the season goes along? Or obviously, like you mentioned, you want to peak at the right time, but how do you sort of contrast getting hot at the right time?
Yeah, that's kind of what we hope to do as veterans. Playing your best game in, Sault Ste. Marie or Okotoks or Penticton isn't necessarily the goal. You want to be able to elevate your game at the Grand Slams and the Brier and provincial playdowns, so you try to wear that maple leaf to go to the Worlds. And so I think, all four of us have good experience in doing that. I think we all know what's important to us and what gets us excited to play these days at those big events. And so I think that with the four guys we have on this team, I think we're going to be able to do that. And, it's about staying consistent and growing throughout the season. Get your confidence going, try to, iron out some kinks you may have as a team. But I think getting the best out of each other when it counts the most is what we're really looking forward to.
I want to take you back a few years now. Back in juniors, you threw third stones, right?
Yeah, that was a long time ago now, but yeah, I did play third in juniors for a lot of years. Yeah.
So how did that evolve? And did you ever want to be a skip? Did you ever work towards being a skip? And then how did you sort of work your way into the lead position? Obviously, we patted you on the back a little bit during your intro about how great of a lead you've been over all these years. But how did that sort of lineup change come about for you? And obviously you stuck with it, right?
Yeah, I always say before I was a career lead, I used to be a really good curler. But no, playing juniors, I played third and skip the whole way up. And to be honest with you, there's very few people in the country that if you got asked to play with Kevin Martin and John Morris and Mark Kennedy, you're going to be playing anywhere besides lead. And so, I wasn't playing with like the best second, best third and skip. I was playing with like three of the best curlers of all time. I didn't realize. So as I went with that team for 8 years, I kind of carved out a niche at lead. And when you get on a team with those kind of teammates and you see the success you can have, it was eye-opening to me. I didn't grow up wanting to be a lead my whole life, but when you get with teammates like that and you see, what you can accomplish and how good your teammates are, and you can just be a really, really good at your position, and winning's the best. Winning's the most fun. So, we put together a lot of wins and had a lot of good success, and I never really aspired to be anything but elite after that, and just try to surround myself with great teammates and be the best lead I can be. And so I tried to work hard at lead shots and sweeping and change the game that way, rather than throwing bombs and trying to compete with John Morris and Mark Kennedy and Kevin Martin. That was my goal. And since then they've been gone, and I've had really, really good teammates behind me ever since. So I've been pretty fortunate. But yeah, that's kind of how that transpired for me.
And you've seen the sport sort of evolve so much over the last years. I mean, rule changes, strategy, equipment. How has your job changed with all the different things that you've seen over the years?
Yeah, I mean the lead. I think you used to be able to hide a player at lead. To be honest with you, like you didn't have to be that good of a player. But now, man, like every top lead out there shoots in the 90s. It's just whether or not you shoot 92 or you shoot 94 or 95. So I'm a way better player today, certainly than I was, 10, 15 years ago, shot making wise. I'd like to have my youthful shoulder back that I used to in my early 20s. That would be good. But no, just, I mean, as you get older in this sport, there's a lot of things that on the mental side and the experience side that can get you through just as many wins as being young and naive and going balls to the wall all the time. But, I've been, I got a pretty great perspective, and I understand what's important to me and what events are, make me tick. And I got teammates that are, in the same mindset. I think if you all have a common goal, you can get there. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for this new squad for these next 18 months to see if we can, get to the top of the podium in that Briar, or certainly represent Canada is a big goal of mine, and then put a good performance together at the Olympic trials, see if I can get back to another Olympic Games. That would be amazing. So, and if it doesn't happen, I mean, hey, we're going to go down swinging, and that's okay too. So we'll see how she goes.
For sure. In terms of the equipment, obviously you're not that old to talk about corn brooms and whatnot way back when, but in your time from juniors until now, how is the sweeping aspect with the broom and how has the broom changed over the course of
the best.
your
career?
career?
I slid. I never was able to swing corn. My dad, my uncles could do it, but I was never able to do it. But I slid with a corn broom because I thought it looked cool, to be honest with you, for no other reason than that. But yeah, the broom, I mean, yeah, we used to sweep with these big, huge, 8-ender, I think, transformer brooms and brownie brooms. They were just big pieces of lumber. And now the brooms we use at Hardline, I mean, they're so light, and the carbon fiber, and they're, you could feel like, they're tough to break, but they're super, super light. And you feel like you can sweep for days with them. And, I joke about this, but I know about 5-6 years ago with all the testing and the broom heads and everything, and we found out that kind of one sweeper directionally, did just as much as two sweepers, and then the speed and, the angles in the ice and all the stuff that you needed to do, having one sweeper on every rock, a lot better now than having to juice two sweepers on every rock like we used to. So I probably get a few more years at the end of my career out of me because of how the sweeping has changed over the years. So I'm grateful that somebody dove into that and found it for this old guy. But yeah, it's been pretty good.
No doubt. So you mentioned the Olympics coming up in a couple of years. Obviously, you want to win every event you go in, right? You want to win this week, you want to win next week. But how much of your team's focus is on that big picture, sort of getting to 2026 and sort of, getting to wear the jacket again?
Yeah, I mean, the Olympics is the pinnacle for a lot of players. I mean, we're pretty fortunate. Our team, we've all been to the Olympics, and we know how special it is. And I've been to two and super fortunate. I don't downplay them, but I'm just as excited, honestly, to go to a Briar and try to represent our country at the World Championship. And that's a big deal. And I think until this year's Briar in Kelowna is over, and I know the Worlds are back home in Moose Jaw, where I grew up playing most of my juniors. Then I'll start focusing kind of on the trials. But I think the long game, I mean, if I had to pick one or the other, obviously you'd want to go to the Olympics just because it's on the bigger stage, and that's pretty cool. But there's a lot of goals this year that we've set aside that I'm kind of focused on right now. I don't want to look too far down the road because anything can happen, as you see in our sport, week to week. So kind of focused on this week here, and my life's so goddamn busy with my wife and my kids and my job that I if I start looking that far down the road, I'm going to lose track of where I'm at. So trying to be where your feet are is what my old sports psych used to say. So I'm kind of living in the moment, enjoying it. You know, I don't have too many years left. And so anytime we get into a packed house, this week we're in Alberta, you know, Briar and Kelowna, Worlds in Moose Jaw, you know, I'm kind of focused on that. But, you know, certainly going back to Olympic game would be, you know, a nice feather in the cap, and certainly have another chance to win an Olympic medal is something that I, you know, dream of. But it seems like it's a long ways away. So we'll see when it gets there.
I guess we'll ask you those questions a bit closer to and leading up to the event. But obviously, you're at the Canadian Open this week. You've won 4 in the past. What are your chances of winning a 5th this year?
Yeah, I mean, we got as good of a chance as anybody. You know, we've been playing pretty good, kind of getting better every week. You know, getting more comfortable with Brad. I think he's getting more comfortable with us. It's always nice to play at home. You know, I love driving to Steeles, bringing my own pillow and stuff like that makes you feel at home. You know, we'll have a little home crowd behind us this week in Alberta, and it's always awesome to play here. Anytime you get to play in, you know, Manitoba, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Prairie provinces that just get behind the curling, it's always fun. And you know, going to see a whole bunch of familiar faces, but you know, it's going to be tough. Everyone's tough here. You know, you got Italy and Scotland, and Sweden, and you know, Gushu, some top Canadian teams. There's going to be a lot of tough teams we're going to have to play this week if we're going to get the win. And yeah, a lot of things need to go your way, but we're prepared. We've been doing a lot of the right things and working hard, and I'm excited to go out there and see if we can string a few wings together.
Now, before we let you go, this is, of course, a curling show, but I do want to talk about golf a little bit. I have a clip to show you from 2007 if you want to have a look at this.
February the 24th. Well, during the break, watch what happened as Ben Hebert was practicing his golf swing.
That was from the 2007 Canadian Open. What do you remember about that? That moment, the broom head flew off and hit a fan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hit this lady. Yeah, geez, that was funny. Well, first of all, my hairline looked great. I looked very young there. I'm jealous. I looked real good in that photo. Everyone's all talking about the golf, but that was my baseball thing. I think I was just baseball swinging. I played a lot of baseball growing up, but I mean, hey, I love golf. I'm a big golfer in the summer, and yeah, you saw a little power behind that swing. I can still get it out there if I need to. Took the broom head right off of it, but that was funny. I remember when that happened in Winnipeg. It was in the slam final against Ferb. Me, you know, my old team with Kevin Martin, with John and Mark, and I remember wheeling it up there, and it hit her, and I ran. I was like, holy shit. I was kind of like, what do I even do? Like, it was packed there, 10,000 people at the MTS Center. And so I ran up there and got the broom back. I think we glued it on with the ice maker, kind of gave us some like super glue. And then I think after the game, I signed it and gave it to her. We're in a good mood. We won. So I like to give away things after you win. But no, that was a funny one. I've seen that clip a few times. A bunch of people have sent it to me, and that's a beauty.
A good Canadian Open memory. Did you see the head spin? Like, were you watching it as it came off?
Oh yeah. When I ripped it, I kind of ducked because I saw it going towards like a bunch of people. There was a few empty spots, but no, flipped this lady, and it didn't hurt her. Thankfully, it didn't hit her in the head. But it was one of those old like 8-ender hard wood brooms. If it would have caught someone in the lid, it would have done a little bit of damage. So I dodged a bit of a bullet there. And the brooms these days are put together a little better than the ones back then. So I think we're safe to do a couple baseball or golf swings to loosen up the old back in between ends. That's all I was doing. I was just stretching.
All right. Well, we look forward to more of your swings this week at the Canadian Open. I appreciate your time, Ben. Thanks for joining us.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
We're off to a break, but when we come back, we'll talk to Curling Canada's Youth Development and Programming Coordinator, Dustin Mikush. Plus, we will tee up the Co-op Canadian Open.
Mo.
The moustache is calling. Raise funds, save lives. Donate at Movember.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. ICAST Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Our next guest hails from the heartland of Saskatchewan curling. Wadeena's own Dustin Mikush rose through the junior ranks before becoming the development coordinator for Curl Sask, where, among other things, he was instrumental in making the province the first to introduce triples curling to youth competition. He has since moved on to the national level, where he is now the Youth Development and Programming Manager for Curling Canada. Dustin, thanks for joining the show.
I'm here today, Taylor.
So take me through, I guess, your new role with Curling Canada. How has it been going so far? And take me through some of the highlights that you've had so far.
Yes, thanks, Taylor. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of the last year and a half since joining in July of 2023. Been enjoying my new role, working primarily in the U9 to U18 ages and stages of our long-term curler development framework. And the big highlight so far this past season was definitely our 4 U15 Rockfest regional events that debuted, where we had 312 youth curlers take part in those new inaugural events.
How has your role with Curl Sask, helped you with Curling Canada as you sort of look back on how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. Thoroughly enjoyed my time at Curl Sask, working in club development and youth curling, and definitely appreciate and have an understanding of, at the provincial and territorial level, the amazing work that's taking place, and I'm now able to build on that at the national level and bring some of that forward.
Well, obviously overseeing youth development for all ages in Canada. I'm not going to ask you for your full job description, but take me through what sort of that entails when it comes to that big picture and that big scope.
Yes, absolutely. So the big piece is working with our 14 provincial and territorial member associations to essentially grow youth curling and get more curlers on the ice and developing their skills and more enjoying our sport. So definitely work every day with all 14 of our provincial and territorial MAs and loving that piece. And then as well as with the ice technician program as well, I have a piece in there as well. And then again, kind of the main events is the U15 regional events, and we have a U12 Rockstars program and U12 Hit Draw Tap, and definitely some programming and events on the youth development side.
I think in your role, I don't think you'd ever be happy in terms of, because you always want to grow the game, and right, that's your job and whatnot. But how would you describe sort of the state of youth curling and the level that it's at in this country right now?
Yes, I think we're at different stages in different parts of the country and different areas currently, and we have some strong areas and some amazing stuff that's taking place in certain parts in the country. And definitely post-COVID, we're still in the recovery phase and in growing, but we are starting to see the numbers start to grow. And for example, one of our programs is the singles curling app, and just last season, we went from 150 youth curlers to now over 700 youth curlers at that U15 age using the app is just one example. So we are seeing the growth in some of our youth numbers.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So grow the game, I guess, would be the top thing that you want to achieve, and even Curling Canada in general. We talked with Nolan Thiessen last week just about growing the game at the grassroots level and up and through to the sort of the big stages where more eyeballs are on curling. What are maybe some of the top priorities that you have when it comes to youth development, though?
Yeah, definitely would be on some system alignment pieces in there, as well as we want to see similar things at all ages and stages is probably the biggest aspect of my role in all of our provincial and territorial member associations that we're currently working on. So we're seeing similar things taught at U12 and U15 and U18 all throughout the pathway, as well as also seeing some different formats in play as well, so that For example, as you mentioned at the start, the triples format, we've been introducing that more across the country. And in BC and Alberta and Ontario, for example, are just some of the places that have been introducing that format. So starting to see some alignment across different formats at different ages would be one of the key pieces there.
How much focus is on sort of developing players and teams that will become the next big team for player for Canada, team for Canada, however you might be at for international competition? And how much is just getting kids interested in the sport and getting them engaged?
Yes, for sure. Both are equally important, both at recreationally and competitive places in our LTCD pathways. Is they're definitely equally important. And at our U15 regional events, they do come actually as individuals, so it does provide that opportunity to meet other curlers from neighboring provinces and territories that they might be playing with their future teammates down the road. But also as well, just having an amazing fun experience that'll hopefully keep them curling for the rest of their lives.
What sort of programs does Curling Canada offer to get young curlers involved in the game? Obviously, you can't speak on a club to club basis, but sort of just provide an overall outlook.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the actually new programs is our Girls Rock program that was just introduced nationally last season. And different clubs across the country have been running tri curling events specifically for girls in sport between the ages of 9 and 16. So that's been one of the key new programs that's been introduced through Curling Canada that we're able to support nationally across the country to get more kids playing the sport. And one of the big focuses for Curling Canada going forward will be on school programming and getting more kids on ice in school programs. So we're very excited about that going into the future as well. So those are just two places that we are looking at to grow in the next coming years.
Very cool. So how much, I guess, do the clubs and schools play a part in fostering that love for the game and getting more kids involved?
Yeah, they play a big piece in getting more kids on the ice, and that's how I got my start in curling was through an after school on ice program. And um, the note came home from school to that there would be a new a school program to go to, and that's how I was introduced to the sport. And I think that's a pivotal part in all clubs across the country, and getting more youth involved in the sport, and will continue to be a key piece going forward.
So here you are. You got a note from home from school years ago, and now you're working for Curling Canada. Could you have imagined sort of how that evolved over the years? Right? I don't imagine your job feels too much like a job when you get to work for Curling Canada and something that you obviously love doing.
Yeah, I get asked about it quite a bit, and I just absolutely love my role, and it's definitely a dream job getting to work in the sport of curling. And you asked 7-year-old Dustin when he came home from school if what he would be doing 20 years down the road. It definitely probably was not working full time in the sport of curling, but couldn't ask for anything more. And definitely love all the people I get to work with at Curling Canada and all of our member associations, and still at the club level as well, as we spend lots of time still on ice with youth curlers and getting to see everyone across the country and kind of learn everybody's different challenges and successes and get to share and be a part of that is definitely something that I'll cherish forever.
I think we're a bit biased here. We obviously love curling here on the Hardline Curling Show, and you obviously love curling. So if you were sort of speaking to a parent with maybe a young aspiring curler or somebody maybe just getting interested in the sport, what would be your sort of piece of advice if they wanted to get their child involved, or if a young curler is watching this, or a young aspiring curler, how would you get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key piece is to head down to your local curling club and see what programming and opportunities are available. Is It's an amazing community that we're a part of, and some of the best people you'll ever meet. So definitely to learn more, just head down to your rink, or also visit our website youthcurling.ca, as it provides all the different programming and opportunity that's available for youth curlers. And yeah, definitely just to you'll love every minute you're on the ice. It's a bit of a challenge for sure. It's not the easiest sport in the world, but you'll definitely grow to love it.
Very cool. Well, awesome, Dustin. Appreciate the time, and continue on doing a great job in your role with Curling Canada.
Thank you very much, Taylor.
The Grand Slam of curling is making its second stop of the season in Alberta this week for the Co-op Canadian Open. We've already heard from one of the competitors, as Ben Hebert and Team Jacobs are one of 32 squads taking part. On the women's side, fresh off their Pan-Continental Championship win, Rachel Homan's team is looking to defend its title from 1 year ago. Homan seeking her fourth Canadian Open crown overall. Leading the charge to dethrone the reigning champs is Carrie Anderson, who won the first slam event this season, the Hearing Life Tour Challenge, and just needs a Canadian Open title to become the second female skip to complete a career Grand Slam. Speaking of which, Bruce Mowat became the sixth male skip to accomplish the feat at last year's Canadian Open, and now his Scottish squad is back as the defending champion and the #1 seed. Looking to go 2 for 2 in slams this season after capturing the Tour Challenge last month in Charlottetown. The last men's skip to repeat was Mike McEwen in 2012. Coincidentally, McEwen's team is in the same pool as Team Mowat this year. The competition is already underway. Playoffs begin on Saturday, with the finals going on Sunday. Keep up with all the action by visiting hometeamlive.com. That about does it for this week. Thanks to Ben and Dustin for stopping by. If you would like to see your event featured on the show, send us an email, steven@iksmedia.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and X and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing. Our next episode comes your way on November 15th. Until then, good curling.